Hi boys and girls, I just wanted to touch base with you guys on your packets. You should be on week 2, day 5. So Friday is the day that you should be in your packet. I wanted to go over your learning targets and what you should be focusing on. The first thing that you're going to be working on is your reading, and you're working on being able, today you're following up with reading the story, The Watch, and then you are going to take that story and you're going to work on story sequence. So making sure that you're paying attention to what happened first, next, in the middle, then following, and then how the story ended. The worksheet that you're going to be doing is a cut and paste, where you're cutting out the sentence strips and then placing them in order from beginning to end. If you don't have scissors or glue, that's fine. You can use you can draw arrows to the specific order that they go in, or you can simply just write the sentences up above. So that's what you should be working on for reading. Then for your writing, you guys are finishing up your all about books. Those are books that you know a lot of information about. So something that you typically are an expert on. Maybe it's a specific animal that you know a lot about. Maybe it's a sport that you know a lot about. You should be getting to the point where you're getting to the conclusion. So I'm going to talk about just a couple of ways you can end your story, because we know that you cannot just end your story abruptly. You need to make sure that you are having your story come full circle, and that your readers are still interested in your story. So some of the ways that you can end your story is you can end it with a specific feeling. Maybe you are talking about a sport and something that makes you feel a specific way, that it makes you really happy. Maybe you end your story with a question, or you talk about a lesson that you've learned about that specific topic that you're writing about. You could also end your story with a cliffhanger where your reader is kept guessing. So those are some different ways that you can end your story. Just make sure that you do not end it very quickly. You want to make sure that you are writing a couple of sentences for your conclusion. The last thing that I'm going to go over with you is your math. Your learning target for that specific section in your packet is I can skip count by 5s and 10s within 1,000. So that's where you're going to be able to be counting forward by 5s and backwards, as well as counting forward and backwards by 10s. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of examples. I wanted to model it for you. I know that earlier in the packet you guys were focusing on place value, and that is going to really help you with this these specific pages. So we'll first start off with counting by 5s, and whenever I'm counting by 5s, we know that we are adding 5 each time, or we are taking away 5 when we're counting backwards. So for example, if I'm starting at 80 and I add 5 and I'm counting forward, I'm going to go 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, and so forth. So your packet is going to be set up just like this, where you begin at a number and you continue adding forward. This next example that I have for you for counting forward is 95. If I add another 5, I'm going to get 95, 100. Now we can see that this 2-digit number is now becoming a 3-digit number. And when I add my 5 next time, when I look at the place value, I have my hundreds, my 10s, and my 1s. So this next number is going to be 105, 110, 115. Okay? When we are counting backwards, we're taking 5 away. So 65 minus 5 would be 60. Take away another 5, 60, 55, 50, 45. All right, let's come back down here and let's do the next one. 45, 40, 35, 30, 25. You can see that when you're counting by 5s, you see a pattern. Your ones place value is either going to end in a 5 or a 0. So pay close attention to that when you are working on your counting forwards and backwards by 5s. The next worksheet that you have is where you are working on counting forwards and backwards by tens. Same concept, you're going to be adding 10 each time rather than adding 5. And make sure, like I said, with counting with fives, you need to pay close attention to the place value. We're going to be looking at our tens place, which is in the middle. So this first one that I'm going to be doing, 204, and we're adding 10, it's going to be 214. I add another 10, it's going to be 224. So each time that I'm adding a 10, my tens place is going up 1. 234, 244, 254, 264, and so forth. If we go down to this example, 319, then we're going to have 329, 339, 349, 359, and so forth if you keep going. The only place value that is changing is my tens place, unless I go over the decade or below the decade. So for example, if I had 694 and I had to add a 10 over here, I would have 704 because I'm adding a 10 to this 9 to make it 100. This one though, we're going to count backwards. So 694 minus 10 would be 684, 674, 664, 654, 644, and 634. My last example, 521, I would go 511, 501. This is where I'm talking about when you are going, I don't have any more tens here, so I'm going to have to go down, and it's going to be 491, 481, 471, 461. Okay, I hope that helps you with your packet, clarifies some questions. If you are confused on anything and you need a little help, feel free to message me on Dojo. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have and clarify anything if you are confused. I hope you guys have a great Friday, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.